listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Fredrick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Constituent Marking with Fred Long on Proof Text. And I'm Fred Long, and we're looking at 1 Corinthians 12, and now we're on verse 22. So we're making progress through this text, and we need to be aware of the context always. And as we're looking at verse 22, we're going to start by reading the text, and I'm going to start marking it up. Allah polo malon ta dekunta mele tu somatos asthanistera uperkin anag kean kea estin anakne a estin. All right. So Allah, I put a box around that right away. Allah. Now Allah typically works means but. Well, it's translated but. It really signifies correction. And so what's being corrected? Well, we have to look at verse 21, which we looked at last time, and I guess I could take us there. You had these statements, the eye is not able to say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Okay? So you have these negative statements last time. And so is correcting that possibility, or really what was denied, that certain body parts would say, I have no need of you, okay? So, but there, the correction of verse 22 is particularly in view of those negative things said in verse 21. But, and then you have polo, dative case, polo, polo is an idiom working with malone. And I'm going to treat all of that as an adverb. By how much more? By much more. So this is a dative of degree, working with malone, more, by much more, or how much more, something like that in English. So it's indicating a degree of comparison in a certain regard. So much more. So that's not true. Verse 21 is true, that we're not able to say this, but instead of that disregard of one body part of the other body parts, much more. So now there's a comparative degree alternative. So there's an alternative correction. There's a correction taking place here, and then a ramping up even more by even much more. And then we have ta dukunta mele, and this I'm going to tentatively single underline, ta dukunta mele. So mele is from melos, it's neuter. In the plural, it's mele. It's a neuter nominative plural form. Ta dukunta is from dokeo, which is a verb that means like I appear or I seem. And so this is an attributive participle modifying mele, ta dukunta mele. The seemingly parts, the parts seeming. And then you have tu somatos after mele, which is a genitive. So the members of the body. So the members of the body seeming, and then this verb seeming, dokeo, often takes an infinitive to complete its meaning. Seeming to be, uparkin, and that's what we see. So after tu somatos, we have asthanestera uperkin. weaker, so asthenestera is an adjective put into the comparative degree. The ending tera is put onto asthenestos, and asthenestos, I forget the exact lexical form of that, but it's from the adjective that means weak. And tera, so weaker. So, and then you have uparkin working with dokunta, seeming to be. So uparkin is from uparkeo or uparko, which means to be. Now it's a different verb than imi. So that's whenever you have an option here for the use of a different verb, I ask questions, why not imi there? Why uparkin? It's intriguing. Arco, the root can mean like rule or begin or be first or to rule. So that's kind of interesting that the root of this word is kind of getting to the issue of, that the Corinthians maybe are dealing with, and that is, who's got the position to be preeminent. So it's intriguing that he's using a word that could almost speak to the issue that they're struggling with, even though we typically translate simply as, to be, and that's what it really means. Uparko means to be. But there may be a little bit more going on there because he's using uparkin rather than the infinitive form of imi, which would be ine. He doesn't use ina. He uses this verb instead. So that's an open question. Why is he using that? I think there's probably some reason for that. Okay, so ta dekunta mele, the members to somatos of the body, seeming to be weaker. So this is a predicate adjective. Asthenestera is an adjective of comparative degree. Seeming to be weaker. And then you have the seeming to be weaker really is the predicate adjective working with the infinitive. But then you have the main sentence, the members are necessary. Anank ki ke'a anank ke'a estin. Both of those are single underline. Anank ke'a is plural neuter nominative from the adjective anank ke'os, which means necessary. This is an interesting word because in some contexts, this adjective and its family, anank ke'os, can mean like forcible. Necessary as in like that which is needing to be and kind of forced upon things. So that's rather interesting. But when it's used of persons, some glosses, lexicons, suggest like intimate. It means intimate. Of people, it means like those with whom you have necessary relations, referring to those like who are closest to you in your family. So that has a totally different sense. So it's kind of interesting that he's using this word necessary and essential in a sense. Necessary and essential and intimate in a sense. So so altogether then, the members of the body are necessary, which seem to be weaker. And that's basically the sense of it. So the correction of verse 22 is that you cannot just say, hey, I have no need of you. I'm ahead. I'm the most important person. I have no need of you, feet. But rather, how much more, Paul says here, verse 22, the members seeming to be the members of the body seeming to be weaker are necessary or even intimately related. Necessarily intimately related. Yeah. So that's how I would mark up the sentence, translate it, and understand it. By the way, all this body part imagery, if I haven't stated it before, I believe I have, is political metaphor. This kind of head-body language is taken up in Ephesians in a big way, but is concurrent in the socio-political environment prior to the writing of 1 Corinthians and Ephesians. In 55, right around AD 54, 55, the court philosopher to the young Emperor Nero, who took the throne at that time, wrote a piece called De Clementia on mercy, in which he argues that the emperor is the head of the Roman body and needs to show clemency and mercy. So this is a political metaphor that Paul is using in 1 Corinthians, and he's kind of working out that there's interconnectivity of individual body parts, even though they are part of one body, and that God has designed it this way, that there's going to be different types of body parts, and actually the seemingly weaker ones are quite necessary and even intimate. And so we'll pick this up next time. I hope you're finding this helpful, and look forward to having you listen and watch next time. Take care.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.